everyone, and welcome to the Cantina Chatter Podcast. In this 8th episode, I am pleased to welcome Daytime Emmy Award nominated composer Michael Kramer, who scored the LEGO Star Wars The Freemaker Adventures series on Disney XD. The show has just been announced to be receiving a second season. Hi, Michael, and welcome to the Cantina.
Hey there, Victoria. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being here. I'm so happy that you were able to join us today for an episode. So, you are an accomplished composer. The roster of projects on IMDb that you have worked on is quite expansive. You have been nominated for an Annie Award. You've won 2 BMI Film and TV Awards, and now you're nominated for a Daytime Emmy Award for your work on the Freemaker Adventures. What sparked your passion for music composition?
Oh, wow. Well, I think the first touchstone was seeing Jurassic Park in the theater when I was growing up. That was, something really special. It was my first time of, hearing John Williams' music and seeing it to picture and seeing how music brought to life these moving images just really captured my imagination. It never left me.
Nice. Yeah, that's kind of surprising. I was expecting I was going to hear something different, maybe Star Wars or... but yeah, that's awesome. I actually heard that from somebody not too long ago who was working in music. I'm trying to remember who it was. But yeah, that's awesome. So you saw Jurassic Park in the theater, and that essentially set you on your path to becoming a music composer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, John, he's kind of it's a little bit fateful now that I'm working on Star Wars and working with his music again. It very much feels like coming full circle.
That's totally awesome. So before your work on the Freemaker Adventures, you and Jay Vincent composed the music for Lego Ninjago, Masters of Spinjitzu. Tell me a little bit about the genesis of your involvement with the Lego franchise.
Yeah, so, Jay and I went to grad school together at USC. There's a really fantastic grad program there for writing music for film and television. And, when we graduated, we kind of did a few projects together, and this one really random post online, it came about, Jay found it asking for generic Asian action music. And I happened to, just the week before, buy some new drum sounds. And whenever I buy new sounds, I like to, test them out and make a little song. So that's what I did. It was just, me in my underwear late one night, just writing some music. And we sent that in to Lego, and they really responded to it. It went all the way up to the top, and that's how we got the gig for Ninjago. We had no idea what it was. And to be honest, I don't think Lego knew what they had either, because I think the success of the show really surprised everyone. And it took off. It just season after season, the writers and the producers and the directors, everyone on that show does really amazing work, and I think it really connects with the kids. I don't think the show dumbs down to the kids. It really gives them the benefit of the doubt and challenges them. So I think that's why it's lasted so long.
Very interesting. And yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because that is one thing that I've also noticed about the Lego cartoons. And late last year, they released the Jurassic World cartoon for Lego. And I thought it was a very similar thing. It was very much geared towards kids. It wasn't dumbed down or anything, but it was a more simplistic version of what we see in the actual live action film. But at the same time, it's still very entertaining for adults. There's still things in there that are geared a little more towards adults as well. So I think that's one of the reasons it does appeal to so many people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Legos are a big part of many people's childhoods. Was this also the case for yourself?
Yeah. Funny enough, growing up, I had a ton of Legos, and I remember I actually used to steal my dad's video camera, and I used to set up these grand scenes of Legos repelling from like fishing wire and stuff, and I would basically make my own stop animation Lego films, and so.
Oh, wow.
now as an adult to be working on the grown-up version of that it's a very surreal experience for sure. But yeah, once again, it's just one of these things that it comes full circle. I love that I get to my job. I get to wake up every day and work in the universe of what I loved growing up as a kid. That's not lost on me. I'm really grateful for that.
That's definitely pretty amazing. I mean, like I was telling you earlier, like my work with Victoria's Cantina, it revolves very much around toys and collectibles and all these movies that I grew up with and, adore. And yeah, I think any time as an adult you're able to tap back into those special childhood memories and all the things that you associate with, having a childhood, it's always a fun thing. So I think it's great that, especially in your case, you can relive that every day in your work, especially with Lego.
Yeah, I think it probably keeps us young.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And this might sound a little weird, but I was never a huge Lego person as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't more until I became an adult that I started noticing Lego a little bit more. I mean, we had a few of like the basic sets back growing up, but it wasn't until a few years ago that I kind of got a little bit more involved with Lego toys and stuff like that. And I still haven't even been to Legoland, surprisingly. I live very close to it and haven't even been there.
Shockingly, I haven't either. It's on my list. I want to try to go this year.
Nice. Yeah.
And it's embarrassing, too, because there's the Ninjago ride that I have yet to go on, which I'm sure will be a very surreal experience.
Yeah, that looks like a lot of fun. And they have a lot of Star Wars stuff, and it looks like a really cool place for all generations. So yeah, definitely on my list as well. Hopefully I can check that out pretty soon. So Star Wars is transgenerational. It is perhaps the most beloved and most enduring franchise out there. It was always a big part of my own childhood, and as an adult, it's still a huge part of my life. When and how did you first fall in love with Star Wars?
Yeah, well, I'll be 100% honest with you. I didn't fall in love with Star Wars until a little bit later in life. My family wasn't big on movies, and so, when I was in junior high, I went kind of on a big exploration of film, and I remember just going night after night and checking out different classics from the then video store that is no longer. Sorry, Blockbuster. But yeah, one of the things that I checked out, I think it was in 8th grade, was Star Wars, and I really liked it, but I didn't love it. It's I don't know, maybe it just wasn't the right time of day, or I don't know, but as I was introduced to it again through working on this. I really had to do my homework, so going back and watching the films and immersing myself in the whole universe of Star Wars, I've really fallen in love with it and the characters. I would say more so the characters than the specific films. Even they're just they're so universal. There's so much to relate to. And they're so well put together. George Lucas really was an incredible visionary. And tapped into these archetypes that are undeniable, and so I didn't love it then, but I love it now.
Right on. I was a little bit of a late bloomer in regards to Star Wars too. I think I found it. I remember it very vividly from when I was like really little, like little bits and pieces would come on television and stuff. But I wasn't around when the movies came out or anything. But I think it wasn't until 95 or 96 when they re-released the films on VHS, and that's kind of when I discovered it and really got into it. But yeah, it's kind of been this thing that I've had a bunch of different franchises that I've loved kind of come and go, and some of them stick around. Like Jurassic has definitely stuck around, but Star Wars has also been one of those that's just very very much key in that whole catalog of franchises that I love and I'm always following up with. Yeah, that's a really great way to describe it.
Yeah, for sure.
So is there a particular Star Wars character that most resonates with you, and if so, who is it and why?
Oh man, that's a really good question. It may sound funny, but I really relate to Rey. The Force Awakens is I think it's tied for me for favorite Star Wars film. It's that and Empire. But yeah, I think she's an incredible character. There's there's a vulnerability and a sensitivity that coexists with strength that I really love about her character. I'm just so proud of Lucasfilm and all the creators involved for creating such strong female characters. I just think it's really inspiring, and couldn't be happier that that's the direction that the franchise has turned.
Absolutely. It's really great to see that because, looking back, there was actually a little bit of that early on. Like George Lucas was just, I think, brilliant with Princess Leia, and
yes, yeah,
she wasn't this damsel in distress. She was a very strong character, and she was decisive, and she was leading the rebels, and it's really nice to see that they're carrying that on because a lot of franchises kind of sidestep that, and definitely seeing them do that with Rey, and then in Rogue One with Jyn. I think that's a really cool thing to see, and it's great for young girls, I think, especially.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, you're totally right. It's been part of the Star Wars DNA from the beginning. Yeah, I'm just glad they're leaning into it a bit more.
Absolutely. So, stepping into the shoes of John Williams, who, of course, by all measures is a musical genius and a legend, must have been an extremely exciting and perhaps a bit daunting experience. I've gotten to see him conduct a few times at the Hollywood Bowl, and each time I've seen him, I've been absolutely mesmerized, not only by his music, but also his incredible humility and his sheer presence. Many of the themes he created for Star Wars are very well known and beloved by millions of people. What was it like being able to take what he did for Star Wars and then build upon it with your own creations?
Sorry, John who? Yeah, no, he's it's pretty amazing because he's, if you were to ask anyone off the street to name a film composer, 95% of people, they'd only be able to name one, and that's John Williams. Yeah, he casts a very large shadow, and I'm not going to lie, and I will say that it was very scary to start the process. After kind of letting it sit for a bit, I just realized they're just musical notes. And if I was going to get through it, I needed to stay authentic to my own musical voice, while at the same time trying to do justice to what, he has created so far, and is still creating for the Star Wars universe. That's the crazy thing. Right now, I think they're recording music maybe as we speak, or last week I think they were at Abbey Road. He's 80, 85. It's very humbling. That's one of the cool things about this job is that there's a lot of longevity to it. You can do this if you do it right. For a very long time. So, yeah, I'm incredibly grateful that we get to use his themes for the show, and I've learned so much from reverse engineering what he's done and trying to apply it to all of our work at Freemakers. But yes, very daunting for sure.
Wow, I mean, I can only imagine. I mean, I do stuff in music sometimes, or at least I used to. I was in a band back around 2009 to like 2012, and we'd always be playing out, in Hollywood and stuff, different, bars and benefits, all sorts of stuff. But I never had the task that you have, where you have somebody great and you're trying to take their music and adapt it and change it and make it your own. But as someone who has written music, I've kind of taken influence from certain styles and certain artists and tried to evolve it and change it into something different. So I can kind of see where you're coming from. I can't relate entirely, but it's really cool to hear you say that because, I can kind of see where you're coming from.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I love to do is to deconstruct music and to reverse engineer it and figure out what makes it tick. And then put it back together. So, I mean, this really was a dream project for me. As I got to do my homework and really figure out, what is it about Star Wars music that makes it sound like Star Wars. Because John has written a lot of music for a lot of other properties, and Star Wars has a unique sound. It doesn't sound like Jurassic Park, and it doesn't sound like Indiana Jones. It has its own unique DNA, and trying to crack the mystery of that was a really fun challenge.
Absolutely. And yeah, I think that goes back to the fabric of his genius, is that, I mean, he can immerse himself in these different worlds to the point where everything does sound completely different. And as a viewer and listener, if you didn't know who it was, you might not guess, oh, that's a John Williams song. I mean, some of them do have similarities, but it is very interesting to listen to his songs and for these different films, and they just sound so different.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So have you already scored season 2 of the Freemaker Adventures?
Yeah, we're in the thick of it. We actually, for season 2, we went to record orchestra in Nashville last month, which was really, really fun. So yeah, we've got the new big themes for season 2 recorded, and yeah, it's we're cranking away. There's a lot of big action and adventure, and a lot of heart in this season 2. I'm really excited to see what people think of it.
Awesome. Now, I want to go back to something you mentioned a little while ago about music. We mentioned John Williams' age, and he's in his 80s. He's still doing what he loves, and he's still doing an amazing job at it. So I think that's one of the things about music, is that it doesn't really matter how old you are, or where you are in life, what your specific circumstances are. Is that something that you foresee yourself doing even when you become John Williams' age?
Yeah, growing up, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I always loved tinkering with things. I knew I loved to create things. I knew I was going to do something involving that. But I was a little bit of a late bloomer to composition. I didn't really get serious into it until college, actually. But if as most people know about me, one of my personality traits, good or bad, is that I'm an obsessive. So when I start on a path, I kind of just go 1,000% and jump into the deep end. So yeah, I really foresee doing this for the rest of my life. I really love waking up in the morning and telling stories with music. I can't believe people pay me to do it. It's wild.
That's awesome.
Very grateful.
Why do you think music is so universal? Why do you think it has that effect on gripping people at all stages of their life, and just having that effect and bringing them together?
Oh wow, man, that's a tough question. Well, I music. There's something undeniable about the way it interacts with our physiology. I mean, it's you can look at a baby, and a baby can tap along to rhythm. I mean, it's in our bodies, and those musical harmonies, those relationships. Why the interval of a fifth sounds the way it does, why it sounds good to our ears and not something different. It's sound is just such a visceral sense for us, and so whenever you try to organize that sound and turn it into organized noise, which I guess you would call music, it taps right into our core as humans. And so yeah, I don't have a better answer, unfortunately, for that, but it's a mystery. I think people are going to be trying to figure out why it makes us move and cry and smile for many a year to come.
Yeah, that's a very good explanation. I think one of the things with music is it does grip people, and I think most people would tell you, oh, I love music and I love this about and this and that. But there are some people out there that are like, I don't really listen to music.
Yeah, I don't believe those people. I think they just haven't found the right kind of music.
That's a good point. That's very, very possible.
Yeah.
So, soundtracks for Ninjago have been released. Do you anticipate that the Freemaker soundtrack will also be coming at some point?
Yes, yes. We are working on it as we speak, and hopefully it should be out later this summer. I don't have a specific release date, but hopefully we'll know soon.
Awesome. Now, this is kind of a random question, but do you happen to have a string instrument somewhere in your vicinity?
Oh gosh, it's funny. I just yes, I just moved into a new place, so all the musicians are strewn about, but I do have a stringed instrument in the other room. Yeah.
Okay. Now, the reason I ask is I'm kind of hearing like a little bit of a humming in it. It kind of reminds me of like when you're near a guitar, and it kind of if you there's noise going on around it, you can kind of hear sound coming out from the mouth of it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that's the gardener next door.
Oh. I'm so off base.
It's all good.
So what types of instruments do you play? I mean, you compose this music. Are you pretty wide-ranging in terms of what you're able to play?
Yeah, one of the things that I love is learning a new instrument. So it's kind of an obsession of mine. it's a little bit of an addiction. One of the amazing things on Ninjago is that each season we bring in musical influences from all over the world, and so I'm constantly acquiring and learning how to play new instruments. So I'm not terribly virtuosic or anything on any of them. I can play enough to get by, but I love learning new instruments. So I don't know. I mean, there's like a dozen 15 instruments that I play consistently. But the thing is that at a certain point, all instruments break down into their own groups, and they're kind of the same thing. So once you learn how to play a wind instrument, the basic principles are the same, and it's not so much of a leap to go to another one. Same thing for stringed instruments or plucked instruments. It's kind of like if you learn French, it's not so hard to transition to Spanish. There's a little bit of an overlap there with those Romance languages. It's kind of the same thing for instruments in a way.
That's awesome. Very cool to hear. I'm actually like pretty strictly guitar. I mean, I'd love to branch out and try and learn other instruments and stuff. I was actually got kind of interested in learning the ukulele.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were in Hawaii last year, and I kind of took like a mini lesson sort of thing, and I was like, oh, I love this so much, but I haven't gotten around to actually buying one, so that's next on my list.
You should check out, you're based in LA, right?
I'm in San Diego.
Oh, San Diego, sorry. Well, if you ever make it up to LA, there's an amazing guitar shop called McCabe's. They're in Santa Monica. They're awesome, and they have a great supply of ukuleles and pretty much everything else, so yeah, that'd be a great place to get one.
Awesome. So you shared on Twitter a few days ago that you will be speaking at Star Wars Celebration in Orlando. Can you tell us a little bit about what you have lined up, as well as whether or not this is your first time attending a Star Wars celebration?
Yeah, this is my first one. I'm really excited. I don't know what to expect, but I can't wait to dive in and check out as many panels as I can. And people watch. It's going to be a good time. So I'm actually speaking on Sunday. That is the 16th, I believe. Yeah, the 16th at 11:30. I'm speaking with Bill Motz and Bob Roth, who are the co-creators for Freemakers. And we're going to be talking about season 2. I think they're going to share some artwork. I'm going to share a little music for the new season. It's going to be a good time.
That's awesome. Yes, yeah. I've been to one Star Wars celebration. When they had Star Wars Celebration 4, this was a long time ago in LA. This was in 2007. I wasn't living in California yet. I was living in Texas, where I'm from. But I flew out here for it and had a total blast. I mean, it was just unlike anything I had ever experienced. And, I was huge on Star Wars, of course. And I think if you're a Star Wars fan, I mean, there's really nothing like attending a Star Wars celebration because it's just so much. It's all Star Wars, really. So no matter what you choose to do there, no matter what you choose to see, I mean, it's all going to revolve around Star Wars in some way or some fashion. So Yeah, I think you're going to have a blast. It's just a really immersive, really fun thing. And there's just always so much going on and so much to see and do.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for me as a first timer?
Oh, gosh. I think that the main thing I would say is look at the dates and see what's going to be going on. If there's something that you are most excited about seeing, I would say plan around that because for many of the panels, things get full really quickly. And yeah, that'd be the main thing is schedule it out. Make sure that you hit all those major events that you want to tackle. And if there's I don't know if you collect, but if you're into the merchandise, that's a really big one too because they do have exclusive products for different brands, different companies, and some of those tend to sell out pretty quick. So that'd be another thing that I would say. But I think most importantly, maybe just go and have fun, take it all in. Live and breathe Star Wars for a few days. And
yeah. Are you going this year?
Not this year. I'm gonna wait until they bring it back to the West Coast, which I'm sure they'll do within the next couple of years.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but it is a total blast though, and I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun, and especially since you're going to be speaking there, it'll be pretty exciting, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Mike, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Let's see. Well, Ninjago seasons. Gosh, it's 7 now.
Wow.
The Hands of Time. It's going to be coming out soon-ish. I don't think they have a specific release date, but yeah, we've finished working on that, and I'm really excited about that storyline. I think it's actually aired in a few countries overseas, but it hasn't aired in the U.S. yet. So keep your eyes out for that. That's the next big thing coming up.
Awesome. Well, Mike, hey, it's been a pleasure having you on Cantina Chatter. Thank you for taking the time to chat with us and share your experiences with all of our listeners.
Thank you, Victoria. It was great speaking with you.
Now, if our listeners would like to learn more about you and your career, where can they find you online?
Yeah, my website is michaelkramermusic.com, and on Twitter, I'm at Kramer Composer, and it's Kramer with a K.
Wonderful. All right, my friends, that will do it for this 8th episode of Cantina Chatter. A huge thanks again to Michael Kramer for visiting with us. Be sure to visit him online. I will throw some links down below. If you are attending Star Wars Celebration, be sure to stop by and listen to him speak and say hi. I'd like to thank Jedi Insider for arranging this conversation. For the latest in Star Wars news, visit JediInsider.com. As always, be sure to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you've enjoyed this podcast, be sure to share, subscribe, and rate on iTunes, SoundCloud, Podomatic, and YouTube. Thank you for tuning in to the Cantina Chatter Podcast. Until next time, bye-bye.